because I do 1,300 crunches and sit-ups 4 times a week.
What's a dose? Can you translate for us?
Winner of the gold medal and the champion golfer of the year is Ernie Els.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Goat Track. This is episode 27. The Goat Track is the podcast about golf and golf adjacent stuff, mostly from Africa. TBag here. I'm thrilled to say we are playing another 3-ball this evening. We've rotated out some guests. Very thrilled to say that one of our guests this evening he's transitioning now. I think you're transitioning from the category of guest to regular guest. I think the next time you'll be on the show, you move into the category of a friend of the show. But it's our official Ernie Els correspondence officer, also works at East Coast Radio as their sports lead. And tonight, I'm guessing he is the biggest Tottenham fan in South Africa. Tucky Tatham, how are you this evening?
The biggest Tottenham fan, I think, would be an understatement. Look, they've disappointed me on so many occasions by beating us, drawing with us, making us share points with them when we don't want to. But tonight I'm wearing that cockerel very proudly on my chest because Peter got to do a job, eh? But it's great to be here, talk about some golf. I'm really excited for this week. I think it's going to be an absolute belter.
No, it's awesome to have you back. Also with us tonight is our very newest golf dad on the show. He's also a renowned golf course critic and the recent finisher of the 13th hole at Cotswold. Hello, Hoff.
Hello, TBag. It's very good to be back. I was thrilled to finish the 13th, and I think I took 2 or 3 points home. I think I was putting for par, ended up with bogey, so still a way off that eagle, but feeling chuffed.
Yeah, that video compilation is coming soon to the Go Track Instagram. But yeah, at one stage I thought you had that par in the bag there. But nice to have you back on the show. And yeah, I think we're all golf dads on this show this evening. We've all been furiously wrestling children into their beds, shutting the door behind them. But here we are, we've made it. As you can hear tonight, the good news is that JDV is not on the show this evening. I've wrestled the head chair back from him, so good chance this podcast is not going to go 2 hours like our SA Top 100 podcast did last week. For those of you, I'm sure many of you probably still making your way through that podcast in little bite-sized chunks, but yeah, that's what it was put out there for. So yeah, hope you guys are enjoying that one. It was one of the favorite ones that I've done. How you guys? What's been happening, Tucky, with you? Have you been getting out on the golf course at all?
Absolutely, it's so disappointing. I haven't had a chance to get out and play golf for probably about a month and a half, which is, I'm just like, when you line up a weekend and you say, oh, this is the one. Yeah, like a month and a half in advance. This is the one. I'm going to line up to 18 holes, and then something happens and you have to go to a birthday party, or you've got to clean the house, or you've got to, yeah. So something's got in the way. But there will be a round of golf very, very soon, hopefully in the next sort of 3 weeks. But geez, yeah, it's been tough. I've been looking at my clubs in the garage, gathering some serious stuff.
I think my advice, coming from sort of entering my 10th year as a dad, is that don't assume that you're going to just have casual rounds of golf on the weekend. You have to be very proactive about being a golf dad. It's either got to be some sort of tour, or it's got to be midweek golf in the morning. That's more or less what you're confined to. Hoff, have you graced Cotswold Downs with your presence since it's cracked back into the top 50 in South Africa?
Only that last time that you're talking about, when I conquered the 13th for the first time in 8 or 9 attempts. nothing since then, unfortunately, apart from a few alignment sticks and 14 or 15 different YouTube coaches in the garden. But yeah, I'm keen to get out there and test the stack and tilt again, and sort of lining up, hoping for next weekend. Maybe go up and play Royal or something like that. But yeah, hoping to get out there shortly.
Well, we do need to do a catch up on our golf goals at some point, probably mid-year. But I just have this sneaky feeling that you might be weirdly ahead of myself and Jacques with some of your golf goals. You went for quality over quantity. So yeah, we'll have to double check on those, guys. It is
I'm definitely sorry. I'm definitely behind on my goals to play more in Cape Town. I haven't achieved that as yet, but I'm hoping that some potential Goat Track tours might come about in the coming months, which could tick those boxes.
Yeah, absolutely. We need to get those in the calendar. Guys, it's the PGA Champs this week. It feels like just the other day we were sitting here talking about the Masters. Another major is on us. I was listening, actually, Hoff, I listened very briefly to the podcast we did last year on the PGA Champs. We're now building up a bit of a legacy now with our pods, but we honestly really struggled to get any like real positive vibe out in that podcast on the PGA Champs. It feels like we're all just kind of getting over the Masters. I think the PGA Champs for a lot of us is probably our fourth favorite tournament on the list. Having said that, I think it has got better over the years. I wanted to hit you guys with sort of some quick hits, PGA Champs hits, some facts for the week coming up, and then just get your guys feeling on maybe on some of these facts, and then also on what your thoughts are on this weekend, and then we're going to go into one of our we're going to create sort of our usual segments on our dog category picks. So, guys, the venue, Valhalla, do you know who the last two winners at this venue are?
Rory and Tiger.
Yeah, I was going to say Rory and Tiger. 2014 and 2000, I think.
That's exactly right. So if I actually had this last weekend, I actually popped onto YouTube and watched the sort of 30-minute highlights of both of those final rounds. Both very compelling golf tournaments for different reasons. I mean, the Tiger one is like a real throwback, and it was Tiger in his absolute prime. But Tiger won in 2000. He won in a playoff against Bob May, the very well-known Bob May. But Tiger actually started the final round with one-shot lead, and then it was a really good day of golf, and both of them shot 31 on the back nine to tie and go into a playoff. So the quality of golf was really, really good. And I think one of the highlights of watching this on YouTube is you see some of the classic Tiger walk-ins of his putts and fist pumps. It was really him in his prime. Tiger ended up betting the first hole in the playoff, and it was that very, very, very classic kind of walk-in, probably his most classic, where he sort of runs off the ball, like points down at it in the hole. And that was this tournament at Valhalla. And then 2014 is a super interesting watch, because the players were essentially it was kind of a tussle between Rory, Phil, and Ricky. Those were kind of the three kind of main contenders. And they were kind of going back and forth on the back nine, and they were coming in the dark. There was like big storms surrounding it. It's a hell of an interesting watch on YouTube. Rory, they get to the 18th tee, and Phil and Ricky are actually playing in front of Rory. I can't remember who Rory's playing with. I think it's Bernd Wiesberger or someone who totally blanked out in the last round. But when they get to the 18th tee, Phil and Ricky are still on the tee, and Rory is already standing at the tee. And Phil and them drive up, and Rory basically tees his ball up, and he's like, okay, well, just go and tell the Oaks that like we're hitting, you know, because he was just trying to get the round in. And the next sort of like 15 minutes are like super interesting because you can see Phil and Ricky are not really that stoked to have these Oaks pushing them. They're only like 2 shots back. Rory's just trying to like play up, almost to like play like a 4-ball coming in. Yeah, Phil almost actually eagles that 18th. He almost chips in from about just off the green. He chips it to about half a foot. And Rory ended up parring the hole, so it would have ended up being a tie. But both very compelling watches on YouTube, and gives you a good sense of the course. I think the 18th hole is designed to create a bit of drama at Valhalla. It's kind of a very reachable par 5, but you can easily make a big number there as well. I think something to look out for is this has just got very interesting. But I wrote down here the drinking game of the week is how many times they say the word decade whilst Rory is on the screen, because we are exactly now a decade from when he won his last major at this exact venue. Thoughts on that?
Jeez, I can't believe that it's been 10 years since he won a major. He's won like 17 times between his last major victory and now. You just think like how incredible that is, that he can just go and beat guys up on the PGA Tour, but just cannot get it done in a major championship in 10 years. The guy that like, what, he won his, how many majors did he win? He won 2 in a row, didn't he? I think. And
he did,
like,
yeah.
So you think
he won the Open, the Open and the PGA in a row, yeah.
Yeah. So you think, oh, this guy, he's got it. He's gonna win six or 7 majors, and then it's just blanked it like for the last 10 years. And to think that a guy like him, he was ranked number 1 going into that PGA Championship 10 years ago, and he's going in this year ranked number 2 10 years later, and you think that he hasn't been able to win a major in those 10 years. It's incredible to think.
It is. It's incredible to think, and it's not that he probably did go through a period maybe of at the longest 18 months when he was like maybe not very relevant, but for the rest of that time he's been highly competitive. Just has not got it done. I'm assuming you may have seen some of the breaking news on golf Twitter, Tucky, about Rory.
No, I've missed it. What happened?
Hoff. Give him the breaking news. This is definitely going to add spice to this weekend.
So this is going to change a few golf champs picks, Tucky, which includes myself. I just changed them about 10 minutes ago. So it's apparently, it's been reported, and apparently Rory McIlroy's team have confirmed it, that he has filed for divorce from his wife, and so I think everyone is thinking that this might be, too good to be true. Valhalla, 10 years on from where he won his last major.
He wasn't married 10 years ago.
You were saying,
man's can come out firing.
Yeah, so I think the stars are aligning for a Rory McIlroy win. Obviously, he won at Quail Hollow now, so I would imagine the divorce was already on the cards in his head. So the performance was already picked up.
He filed for divorce. Holy shit. That is hectic. I wonder what happened. We can only speculate.
He wants to win golf tournaments.
I just love the fact that, like, if it was I told this to my wife just now, and she was like, oh, like, I thought he was like in a really happy marriage, and like probably one of the first thoughts that guys are having is like, oh, this is going to free him up massively, like this is a sign. Like he met,
well, I think
he apparently met his wife in 2014.
You were saying like Caroline, eh? Weren't you saying he had also split from Caroline like very shortly after he went on his last major run? So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he won last weekend. I guess he knew the papers were going to be be filed. Look, there is a bit of if you go and look at some of Rory's like best performances, and I'm not going to get into the whole weeds here with the divorce thing and that, but he definitely plays well when he's got a bit of a chip on his shoulder. And there
100%.
were some things in this last major, the one at Valhalla 10 years ago, when there were some things that had got under his skin, apparently, in that final round. Apparently, Phil was doing a couple of things here and there. And I wouldn't be surprised if the kind of Rory-Phil needling stuff dates way back further than we could imagine, to kind of perhaps even at Valhalla. So who knows? It's interesting. I mean, I got to be honest. I picked Rory. Rory's in my Golf Champs team before this news, and I was like, am I going to bail on him? But no, it doesn't change anything for me. Guys, there was another very famous player, which sounds very obvious, but there was another very interesting player who was also in the field at Valhalla in 2014. Do you know who that was? Blocky.
Was he?
Did you say Blocky?
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Michael Block played in the 2014 PGA Champs at Valhalla. Yeah.
I read a story about him literally like an hour ago. That's the only reason why he's on my mind. So he played in that tournament 10 years ago.
He qualified. He won they have a qualification tournament, which he won to get entry into the PGA Champs. So, so he's got a bit of course history, top 15. Would you guys bet him to make the cut?
No, absolutely no, surely not. Like that guy's been irrelevant since.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
God, he just pissed me off though. He pissed me off.
That was a great story, though. I mean, it. By the time they finished the round, I was over the guy, but it was a hell of a story. I mean, making that hole in one, like, I never forget one of the memories I had. I actually was looking back on it, but he was playing with Rory, and when they finished on the 18th, after he putted out, obviously the crowd was going like wild and whatever. Like, he was having to tell the crowd to quieten down so that Rory could putt. And like, if you think about the absurdity of that, like that a club pro is having to like quieten the crowd, it's like so that the number one or number two player in the world can putt out. I mean, it's ridiculous. Guys, Safa's in the field this week. We've got C. Bez, Burmester, Tristan Lawrence, EVR, and Ryan Van Velzen, who qualified because he won the Sunshine Tour Order of Merit. That's one of the perks of winning the Sunshine Tour Order of Merit. I had a note here, and I was looking at the golf rankings, the data golf rankings. They do sort of a comparison to the world golf rankings, and by far the most headline player who is not at the PGA Champs this week is Louis. I think on those data golf rankings, he's like 30 something. And I think you have to go way down to like the 60s or the 70s. I think Abraham Answer is like kind of the next guy. I saw a thread on Twitter which said that Louis was invited but turned down the invitation, which I really battle to believe. It seems like bullshit to me, but kind of weird that he isn't here and didn't get an invite, which I know there were a bunch of other players that got an invite. I don't know if you followed any of that, Hoff.
Yeah, I was going to say, with golf Twitter, it's difficult because there's so many different sources that quoted that, but it's so difficult to sort of discern whether they have their own independent sources that are reporting it, or whether it's one source and then just each media sort of house reports the same thing. Because, I mean, it was quite widely reported, amongst all of the different handles on Instagram and Twitter and that. So I mean, yeah, it would be surprising. I mean, it wasn't, what was it, last month he did an interview with someone, I think it was one of those Live Golf interviews where he spoke about, being disappointed not to be in the majors, and he sort of focused on the Masters, but, it would be difficult to think that he would turn down an invite if he got one. Look, as you said at the beginning, this is definitely major 4 of 4 in terms of importance by some distance, but it's still a major. So yeah, I find it hard to believe. But in terms of Saffers, yeah, I think it's obviously good news for Dean Burmester. He's been playing really well on your favorite golf tour, Terence, Live Golf. And it will be good to see that green and gold Stinger uniform out there at Valhalla.
It absolutely will not be good to see that uniform, but I got to say I'm very glad that he is in the field. Yeah, the live golf uniforms aside, I'm not gonna like shit on that down that street again. But honestly, I think he's probably our best player in the field, to be honest with you. And there's a pretty good course fit there as well. I mean, I believe it's a bit of a bomber's paradise, and it is going to be a bit wet as well. I think his game stacks up really well for that, and it would be. I'd be thrilled to see him have like a really good week because it was one of the things that really bummed me out about him as well as other guys going to Live was that they weren't, we weren't going to see them in the majors. So yeah, I'm very stoked to see him there, and I really hope he has a good week.
Yeah, and also, I mean, it's not exactly the major championship that South Africans have the best record at. I think it's just Gary Player that's won 2, and I saw Golf Digest mentioned Southern Africans and included Nick Price, which is obviously a stretch for us. But yeah, I mean, it's a hell of a long shot for any of those guys, including Burmester. But as you say, I think form-wise, golf course-wise, he seems like a really lacquer oak as well. So it would be good to see him up there.
Yeah, I was gonna say that like you look at the guys that are on the PGA Tour from a South African perspective, like Eric van Rooyen won is the most recent winner that we've had, but like there's nothing like him and Bears, just like nothing to write home about. Like Bears was in the hunt, well not in the hunt, but he was sort of first page of the leaderboard, I think for Thursday, Friday this last week, and then sort of fell away on the weekend. And like it seems to be the story of his life at the moment. He's just Thursday, Friday, makes the weekend, and then sort of just disappears. And like when you're playing at a major against a field like you're going to see this week, which is probably the strongest field you're going to get, given that like we've got all the live guys, the top live guys, and the best PGA Tour players, and it's the biggest field. So like you can't just be playing 1.5 good rounds of golf.
Yeah, I think I said this last year, but Bears is like a top 30 machine. He's like, he must be making, like, for his kind of talent level, and really, with all due respect, he's like maximizing his I think his talent like massively. He's not like the longest guy off the tee by any means. He putts incredibly well, and yeah, I mean, you look at his results. I think he's had one miscut this whole year, and he's finished outside of the top 30. I'm looking here. He's finished outside of the top 30 once in like basically 10 tournaments, 11 tournaments. So he's just a machine for like a top 25. He finished tier 16 last week. So probably a good guy. I mean, we're talking about golf champs. Probably a great, a good guy to slot into your team. I don't know if his ranking gives you what you're looking for from him, but almost certainly will probably be around on the weekend.
What is his major record like though? Like that's the other question. Like because on the PGA Tour, if he's doing top 30s, like where does he fit in his major record? Do you know?
So his best finish in a major is tier 30.
Here we go.
Which I literally just read that right now and made me burst out laughing. But it's literally tier 30 at the 2021 PGA Champs. Yeah.
That being said, though, it's like the PGA Championship. Okay, Terence, you said it. You said at the beginning that it has got better, and I think that's probably because of Phil's win and Brooks' win and Rory and that. But for many years, this was like the major won by randoms. It was like the Sean McKeells of the world. That you're like, who is that oak? So I mean, for everyone else in the golf world, Chris Biz is pretty much random. For us, it would be great for him to win, but it kind of calls out for one of those, like a guy that gets top 30s, comes out of nowhere and wins it. And I mean, he seems like such a lacquer oak. It really couldn't happen to someone better. It's a long shot, but it would be awesome. And I would take that over a lot of other American randoms that we're going to be seeing up on that leaderboard.
Yeah, I think that the narrative of that random winner, I think it has changed a lot in the last like 5 or 6 years. If you go and look at the leaderboards of the last 5 or 6 PGA champs, like it's generally been kind of headers only. They've had, I think, playing on better golf courses, I think has helped. And if you look at the past winners at Valhalla, it should, they should give you some indication that, hopefully we're going to have the cream rising to the top, because the last thing we need is a pillow fight up there with, like a couple of high seeds, a couple of street dogs fighting it out up there. So,
Why Yang?
Yeah, the Sean McKeells of the world. Just a quick note. I did look this up just for everyone. So the TV window for us here in South Africa, I think, is going to be very similar to the Masters. So you can expect kind of the final groups to be teeing off on Saturday and Sunday around 8:30. I know that's well past your bedtime, Hoff. But we'll maybe pop it on PVR. But it's not too bad. You might be sneaking into the 1 or 2 o'clocks if it gets interesting towards the end there. Guys,
I think it depends on the leaderboard. That's gonna, as you say, if it's gonna be a pillow fight between Sean McKeel's son and KJ Choi's son, then I'm out. But if it's a battle royale, then I'm all in.
So the leaderboard of the Masters wasn't good enough for you with Scotty and Ludwig.
No, that was a tough one, Terence. It was a tough day. We had encountered a little bit of additional noise levels from I can't remember what he was at the time, 3 months, 4 months. So that was a tougher one, but we made some strides in that department. I'd like to think I'm touching my wooden coffee table at the moment, but we'll see. We'll see. It's his world, not mine.
You're just occupying it, guys. We are.
That's it.
We are running our Golf Champs sponsored pool again, so please do go onto Golf Champs and join. We have added a sort of a new request in terms of participating in the prizes, which is to sign up on our website. You'll find the link to signing up on the Golf Champs website, but just follow that or follow the links that we've sent on Instagram. Essentially we're trying to set up a bit more of a members area for GoTrack listeners, so that we can communicate better with everyone, and hopefully set up some exciting things down the line, possibly some events, and future kind of Golf Champs type activities, which it makes a hell of a lot easier if we can contact people. So please sign up on our Golf Champs site, the GoTrack podcast. Tucky and Hoff, we had our dog categories in our last podcast, and we are going to go through this again. I thought this was a great little exercise. So just to run through it again, for if this is your first time listening, we are basically challenged the guys to, we have 4 different sort of categories of dogs, and we need to find value and players within each of those categories that we think could be good picks, not only for Golf Champs, but possibly for anyone maybe putting a few ZARs down. So running through those categories, we have, well, interesting enough, Golf Champs has obviously now adjusted the way they do their rankings, which I'm really thrilled about, because it's suddenly made it a hell of a lot more interesting. I don't know what you think, Hoff, but it's suddenly like back to the original Golf Champs.
Yeah, original-ish. I think they're making the strides. I think it could be slightly better weighted, but it's definitely far better than the OWGR. That's for sure. That became a little bit of a joke. But yeah, it makes it more realistic. Back to the sort of heyday of Golf Champs. There's still a couple of outliers like a DJ where you can basically, pick DJ and select whoever you want around him to a certain extent. But yeah, far better. I've still tried to seek that unique entry and avoid those kind of clicks of choosing those other guys, although I ended up doing it to a certain extent. But yeah, much better, T.
So what I sort of worked. Sorry. Go for it, Bree.
No, I just wanted to know, like, so what is the basis of the new system? What are they using? Because, like, you have a guy like Brooks Koepka at 49. Like, I thought that was a big outlier.
Yeah, big outlier.
Yeah, so I did a little. Well, I don't have any like confirmation of this, but my guess initially when I saw the Golf Champs seeds, I thought, oh, okay, they've done basically what we did in our last podcast, which was look at the odds. But obviously that's not the case. I mean, there's no ways Brooks Koepka would be the 50th seed on the odds. The defending champion literally just won the last live event. So I went on to a website called Data Golf, which I use, sort of looking at guys' strokes gained and that. But Data Golf have their own ranking system, which is basically based on players' sort of performance relative to the field that they're playing in, kind of like OWGR, but they've still been obviously assigning them with, I guess, like a ranking based on the performances. So what it does is it's still ranking essentially it's still kind of ranking the live guys. And I looked when I saw, I think they've based the seeds in Golf Champs on the Data Golf ranking, but it didn't include this last weekend, the tournament that Rory won. Because when I went and looked at a couple of guys, Brooks was basically at 49, and there were a few other guys that I went and looked at, and it sort of tied in with that. So that's more or less how they've come up with it. I agree. I think there's still some pretty big glaring issues with it. I mean, Brooks is obviously the biggest one. I'm going to push back a little bit on Dustin Johnson, Hoff. Like, I mean, he hasn't exactly set the world on light. Missed the cut at the Masters. He's had one top 10 in live this year, which like a top 10 in live is basically like top 25% of the field, which is not exactly like difficult to do if you're a player of his standard. I don't know. He hasn't shown a huge amount of form.
Yeah, fair enough. 61 is still pretty low though, or high, depending on which way you look at it. He hasn't been in form. That's 100% correct. I still think if he was part of OWGR, he would be higher. But I think a lot of guys will still be drawn to him at a ranking of 61.
Okay, guys.
His odds aren't that bad. Well, relatively speaking, he's just behind like Siwoo Kim and Tony Finau, ahead of Shane Lowry in the odds. So yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Siwoo Kim and Tony Finau. Okay, head of Shane Lowry. Shane Lowry's ranked like 48th. Yeah, I guess the bookies just, and that's the thing, right? And that's why I still think the bookies have got the most. They've got the most skin in the game. So their ranking, I think their ranking is probably got to be the most accurate because they take into account, guys' previous major history, course fits, all of that stuff. So yeah, I probably would have gone with some sort of ranking the Oaks based on the odds. But let's be honest, I mean, at least it's a hell of a lot closer. If I'm looking at the odds here, Brooks is fourth favorite in the current odds. So yeah, clearly at 49, there's a bit of a cheat code there if you want to try and stack your team in the beginning. So guys, we're gonna start with our dogs, and let me just run through the categories quickly. So we have our lap dog. Our lap dog is essentially there for ceremonial purposes. They are guys who we have put at greater than 100 seed on Golf Champs. And we had some really great entries from the Masters. Peter Malnati, and I'm looking for some similar guys from Tucky. Then we have our street dogs. Our street dogs are really where we're starting to try and find a bit of value. We're trying to find guys who maybe have in former lives have been written off, but they believe that they're there to compete. They're there to get a top 20 or a top 30 kind of paycheck. So we're looking for, these are really where you want to be looking for that one guy who you just want to make the weekend, and then possibly stack your team with a couple of prize puppies. Next category is the farm dogs. This is really guys who doing heavy lifting. They may not be in the prize puppy category, but this is really the guys who you want to sweat out there. You would expect at least a made cut from them at the very least, and sort of I guess you're hoping for kind of like a top 20. And then guys, we got farm dogs is 20 to 59, and then from 1 to 20, the top 20 seeds, those are prize puppies. So that's it. I've asked you guys to pick one in each category. You're welcome to mention others, and yeah, give us a little reason on them. I'm gonna start off with Nick Tatham. Who is your lapdog for the PGA Champs?
Nice. He's there. My boy's there. But I've changed my mind. He's there, but I've changed my mind. I think that is, Blocky's also there. He was another one. Jason Duffner, former champion. Thought maybe I'd give Duff a go, but another major winner, and where's he ranked? 111th. I'm going with Gary Woodland. He's going to be my lapdog for this week. I thought that's not a bad shot.
Okay. What is his recent? I haven't actually seen him much lately, but he hasn't very good player.
He's been right, I think, lately.
Yeah.
Obviously, came back from he had that massive operation. What I don't know what he had quite a serious medical.
He had brain surgery, basically. I think. Yeah.
That's the one, and the man's back. He's playing, and I saw his name there, popped out straight off the page after Malnati and Blocky.
Okay.
Gary Woodland, my boy.
Hoff, who have you got? Who's your lapdog? Who's your ceremonial guy?
So I'm having quite a chuckle looking at these lapdogs because obviously Tucky referred to Jason Duffner as a past champ in that, and it's almost like a hint to the PGA Championships dark early days, because if you go through this list, you see a number of past champs, and they're not the greatest names. Jason Duffner, Jimmy Walker, going down here, John Daly, Rich Beam, Sean McKeel, Y Yang. They some really horror past champions on this list, but I've had to look past the likes of all of those absolute champs, and I have settled. Who did I settle on? Ryan Fox from New Zealand. I like old Foxy. He started well at the Masters. He's a big bomber on a course that needs big bombers. So I think from that expression, I probably stole him from you, Terence, but you gave me the floor. So Ryan Fox it is.
Fantastic pick. Yeah, you 100% stole it from me. I mean, it seems like a little bit of a cheat code, but he is. I went and looked at his last sort of 10 tournaments. It's been a hell of a inconsistent. It's sort of like tie 20 miscuts. I think he finished tie 4th last weekend he wasn't in the Wells Fargo. He was in the other event. So yeah, who knows which version of him is going to show up? He does hit the shit out of the ball, so he's probably well suited towards the course. But yeah, good pick. Just out of interest, do you have the Golf Champs website open, Hoff? Is that what you're looking at?
I do.
Have you seen the photo that they have on here for Tristan Lawrence?
What rank is he?
He is 95.
Oh, there.
That's definitely not him, right?
No way.
I think it is. It's just a horrible picture. And I think it's a picture of him quite a few years ago.
Yeah.
What picture are you looking at? Because the picture I'm looking at, it looks like an Asian guy with yellow glasses on.
Yeah. I was gonna say he does.
That's not.
He does look a bit like that Malaysian guy, Gavin Green or whatever.
Is that
his
really
name
him?
is, with those yellow sunnies on. I think it is him. If you zoom in, I think that's
him too. Yeah.
From quite a few years
Really?
ago.
Probably from when he was about 16. I think, yeah.
When you're still playing under the Philippines flag.
I remember they had a guy a couple of years ago on here who the picture of him was literally him as like a 13-year-old. It was it was outrageous. I almost picked him just for chaos.
So who is your lapdog if I've taken Fox?
It's really going to be tough. I'm going to have to pick someone just off the seat of my pants here. You know what? I'm going to go with. You know what? I'm gonna go with Ryan van Velzen. I'm gonna go with the Safa. Super talented youngster. I think he's like 22. Yeah, I've watched him a little bit on the Sunshine Tour. He's ranked 121. Just like very consistent ball striker. Yeah, I think he could make the cut. Depend obviously first. I'd imagine it's his first major, so depends. How he does with the occasion and that. But if you're going to have any event as your first major, I reckon the PGA Champs is probably not a bad one because it's I don't know. It probably just feels like a really big kind of PGA Tour type event. So Ryan van Velzen, share my lapdog. Okay, guys, street dogs. We now in the category 60 to 99. So we're gonna flip the order here. I'm going to give you guys my street dog. I got to say, this one was a little bit tough. Not because I think I found an excellent street dog, but because in the Masters, my street dog was Patrick Reed, and he really felt like a street dog. He looks like a street dog. He behaves like a street dog. He has that street dog. Those tendencies. This guy that I found, I don't think we could say the same thing, but I think the numbers are going to show that this could be a good pick. So my street dog is Mackenzie Hughes, the Canadian. He is ranked 66th. I've gone with him because he has just been really, really consistent, kind of in the vein of Sea Bears. He's had one miscut the whole year. He finished tie 6th last weekend at the Wells Fargo. And he's had 2 other top 10s and a couple of top 20s. So not the most exciting street dog, I know, and doesn't really fit the street dog brand, but probably someone who our listeners should maybe look at. If you got 66 there, then you've got 3 other guys. You just got to make up 34. Could be an option if you want to build a team around someone like that who looks like he's playing really, really consistent golf. guess we're going to have
Fair
to
enough.
throw it to Tucky now.
Okay. Sweet dog. Also, I don't know. I think he might fit the mold, but he's not a Patrick Reed sweet dog. It looks like if he had a few beers, I reckon he could turn into a bit of a sweet dog. I'm going with my boy. He wears the beautiful low button down shirt, goes and test. Keith Mitchell wears the visor. I think he's got a bit of dog in
I
him.
love that.
Keith Mitchell's my street dog. I'm just looking at his results. Not shooting the lights out, to be fair, but he's got himself into a major championship. So we'll see how he goes. I'm going more on the aesthetic rather than
you're going more on gears than on stats, you know.
100%. I'm all for the gears.
I love that. I like Keith Mitchell. He's really cool. There's an awesome. I don't know if you ever have listened to or heard of the Golfers Journal, Tucky. There's a publication in the States called the Golfers Journal, and it's a really, really cool, very alternative look at golf. And they literally do a print magazine, like a journal. I think they do it every 2 months. But they have a podcast called the Golfers Journal podcast. And they did an interview with him a couple months ago, and yeah, I'd highly recommend going back. And he's a very interesting character, but it's far less about golf than just like sort of personal stuff. But yeah, very interesting cat. So definitely worth a listen, that one. Alrighty, Mr. Hoffman, who do you have for us?
So my street dog, I have no idea whether he would actually be a street dog or if he's got any fight in him. But he's actually one of my golf champs picks as of 10 minutes before this podcast started, when I found out that Rory McIlroy had filed for divorce. And so I needed someone with a much higher ranking closer to 100.
Okay.
And I feel like most Australians are street dogs. And I have seen his name up there on a few leaderboards, never on the final day. But his name has been up there in high pressure moments. So I'm going for Cam Davis.
I really like that, actually. I had had quite a good look at him. He had a I don't know if it was last year's PGA or if it was the Masters this year, but he's had some semi-decent showings in some of the majors. So yeah, that's like and I think he hits a long ball as well. So
he showed up pretty well in the President's Cup, if I remember correctly, where he was kind of plucked from obscurity because of the whole live thing. And he did decently there. He showed a bit of dog. So yeah, I mean, time will tell. Surely he can't be worse than Torbjorn Olesen from my last showing.
Finished tied 12th at the Masters this year.
There you go.
And last year he finished tie 4th at the PGA.
There we go. I'm happy with that. If he can, do that again, I'll be stoked.
He doesn't look like a dog, though.
No, that's what I was saying. I was basing it purely on his nationality, rather than his look.
Yeah, a tough one between him and Mackenzie Hughes, who looks more like a dog. I mean, they both sort of look like lap dogs. Okay, we are going to flick it over now. We're going to farm dogs, and this is really where we need to start paying a lot more attention. This is always, I think, probably the most difficult category because we have a large number of players. We've opened it up from seed 20 to 59, and yeah, there's obviously a large number of players in this category. So we are going to have to, I guess we're going to have to start with you, Hoff. Who do you have in this category?
Yeah,
and are they in your Golf Champs team?
They are indeed in my Golf Champs team, Terence. They were one of the originals in my first edition of my Golf Champs team for PGA Championship. And I picked him purely to irritate you, I think, rather than anything else. And I thought it had to be done. It is ranking number 34, Mr. Taylor the Gooch.
My God.
Very interesting.
I don't like him for the record. I'm not a Taylor Gooch fan, but I just thought, just to rub it in there with the whole Live PGA Tour thing, why not?
Well, I mean, it's your team, not mine. I've got absolutely no idea how he's going to show up.
Neither do I.
Just looking the last.
I don't think anyone does.
Last two majors.
I think that's the beauty of it.
He played in both the Open and the PGA last year. Missed the cut in both of them. So yeah, I mean, I wish you well. I wish him well. I want nothing but the best. But I mean, I don't know whether it's the media that jumps onto like tiny little sound bites that he's given or whatever. But I sometimes just do a bit of an eye test, and he just looks like a douchebag. So I'm just going on like what he looks like.
No, he's 100%. Yeah, he's 100% a douchebag. There's absolutely no doubt about it. But yeah, that's the pick.
He's a fucking rich douchebag.
100%
douchebag. That's for sure. A lot of the rich guys are a lot of douchebags are rich though. All right. I guess I'm trying to work out who would. I guess it would be me now. Tucky, you got to have a turn on the end there. Okay, so I have gone for one of our original. Look, guys, Brooks Koepka. If you really want the best farm dog, let's be honest, it's Brooks Koepka. He's at 40. He's at 49.
Yeah.
But that's not my pick. I've gone back to like our original brand from the Masters of farm dogs, and I'm going to be stealing now, reaching across the aisle here and stealing from Tucky. This is his farm dog from what I remember from the Masters. So I'm gone with Cameron Young. He is
the golden retriever.
Isn't he the Australian sheepdog? He
just works hard. I don't know.
Yeah. Solid. Like I think pretty good course fits as well. I think he obviously hits a very long ball. It's going to be wet out there. I think he's a very good course fit. Still hasn't won a PGA Tour event even since our last podcast. But you know what? There's nothing like the first time being your major. So Cameron Young is my pick. Finished in the top 10 at the Masters. Been pretty consistent this year. So let's go, Cam. Who you got, Tucky?
It is quite funny. It is quite funny looking at Cameron Young's picture, talking about pictures on Golf Champs, because I don't think I've ever seen him without a beard. Yet his picture is without a beard, and I don't even recognize him.
It must be during his university days there,
yeah. I think it is. I think he's wearing a Wake Forest hat, which means that's 100% a picture from college.
Yeah, these pictures need a bit of an overhaul. All right, Tucky, who do you have in this category?
Okay. Yeah, as you mentioned, so many options. Probably, like the meat of the field here. And I'm going with a guy who's actually won at Valhalla before as a junior. I'm going for the long lefty. I'm going for Akshay Bhatia. He looks like an extra length border collie. So a proper farm dog. And he's my pick as my farm dog.
I don't think Akshay Bhatia has been onto a farm before, bro. Not with those glasses. Although he
I
does
was
look like
watching
he
him.
has.
I saw a highlight of him playing in the practice round. He was playing in the practice round, and I've never seen a human being wear that short a pair of shorts on a golf course in my life. And the guy's legs are no wider than his driver's shaft.
I say he's never been onto a farm, but he does look like the sort of guy who has like oat milk in his coffee. You know, he's got that vibe about him. I always just I genuinely worry about him like just getting blown over on the course. I got to say, but very cool to have like a vibey kind of lefty who's sort of in the top 30 or 40 in the world. So yeah, I like him. I did very impressed. You did some of his research into his junior years. That's a hidden gem.
You know what? I was actually it just popped up. I was looking at when Rory won in 2014, and they were talking about like guys who are coming back as past winners, and it just sort of popped up that he had won there as a junior. He won back-to-back junior PGA championships as a junior, and one of them was at Valhalla.
Wow, well that's a great nugget for our listeners there. So if you're looking for some value in that space, I think you know there's a whole bunch of guys, and this is where the difference between the golf champs rankings and the odds change. But there's a few guys where they're a little bit out of kilter, and I'm just looking here on the odds. His odds are 115 to 1. So yeah, if you want to maybe look at him for like a top 20. There could be some significant value there. I can tell you now for a top 20, he is about 4 to 1. So could be a pretty good play. That actually, I like that. I think I'm gonna add that to my betting list. Nice, Tucky. Nice bit of deep research there. That's why we have you on. You know, these little nuggets. Brilliant. Okay, guys, we're down to our last category here. We are on our prize puppies. This is 1 to 20. The rules always are that we can't have the same prize puppy. Hoff, should we give it to Tucky? I mean, he is our regular guest to go first. I think once he gets into the
100%.
No, I went first. I went first at the Masters, guys. Sum it up. and I got the winner, just in case the listeners didn't know.
All right. Well, I'll go first then, because then I can take your winner. Hopefully, I'm going to pick Scotty, guys. Big surprise.
Okay.
We've just lost Tucky to some sort of incident. But yeah, I'm gonna pick Scotty. I still think I know he's had some personal happenings in his life with having his lighty, but God, if you look at his form, essentially almost like winning 5 in a row. I think came second in that one tournament, but I mean it's kind of an outrageous run that he's on. I think any golf course kind of sets up well for him, but he's long enough off the tee. I guess the only question mark is whether like he's fully in the right headspace, having just had a lighty probably sometime in the last week. But I just can't not pick him. If I get first dibs on the board, I'm picking him. And spoiler alert, I've got him in my golf champs team as well. Tucky, we're gonna give you a second pick.
It's difficult to argue with.
No, you can't argue with that. Like, gee, that guy is something else, and he's just on an absolute run of form. But I have I've gone with. I had disclaimer in my golf champs. Brooks was my guy. He's in my golf champs team, but so is this guy. I've gone with Bryson gone with Bryson, big bomber. Hopefully things sort of work out for him. I know apparently the weather's not going to be great. It's going to be quite soft out there, but he's hitting it. He hits it as far as anyone. So I reckon that'll give him a bit of an advantage as long as he can stick around on Sunday. I know at the Masters he was there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Just sort of he didn't go up a level on Sunday. So hopefully he can do that. I'm not his biggest fan, to be honest, but look, I picked the guy, so I've got to back him.
Well, look, we aren't booing you like we did with Jacques when he picked Bryson, and that was kind of like egg in our faces for at least the first 3.5 rounds. I have some concerns around his kind of accuracy off the tee. I think you can get away with that a little bit at Augusta. I think Valhalla is a bit tighter and there's a bit more thick rough. But he also is a bit of a unit, and who knows? Maybe he can hack it out of that rough well. I really hope he has a good week because, as we know, Bryson brings content, and content is interesting. So, cool. I like it. All right, Hoff, bring us home here.
Yeah, so I've got a couple of honorable mentions. The guy that was in my team this morning that got taken out is a prize puppy, is Max Homer. It's an honorable mention there, so I'm not going with him, but he was up there for a while. I also have to mention a player that is in my team, and that's obviously Rory McIlroy. Because of his divorce, he wasn't there this morning, but he is now. But my prize puppy is a prize puppy that I'm going to carry forward from the Masters. I'm going to give him another go. He's young. He's a big player. He stands up in big occasions. So I have to go for big ludders again, Mr. Aubert. So he is my prize puppy for 2 majors in a row, and I'm hoping that he can bring it home. He's a big hitter. I have to stick with him. I've got no reason not to, apart from Shark telling me earlier that he might have an injury, but I don't care about that. I'm backing him. Ludwig Aubert is my man.
You're gonna back him every major. Is he just gonna be your?
I don't know about every major, but at the moment, I've got to say the short-term answer to that question is yes, but I'm not so sure about long-term. Maybe a 2024 pick, but we'll see. I mean, if he like kills over or something, then I'll have to change. But I did move my team around a bit there. Took Max Homer out to make room for the divorcee, and then brought it home with the anchor from Sweden.
I'm just like mildly blown away here, Tucky, because if you listen to some of our podcasts from last year, if you could ever imagine Hoff picking Rory McIlroy in any one of his teams, you would have seen polar bears walk into your house. So this is a hell of a momentous occasion, and I'm very interested.
Because he's going through the biggest problem in his whole entire life. Now Hoff's like,
he's my guy. I can ride with this.
Yeah, look, it hurt. It hurt to pick him. I'm not going to lie. I used to be a huge Rory McIlroy fan until he became a professional moaner. But yeah, it does hurt. But at the same time, this is a head over heart decision, and as you said earlier, TBag, he's when he gets a chip on his shoulders, he can deliver, and when he does deliver, flip, it is good to watch. I'm not gonna lie, like a Rory McIlroy in full swing is super impressive, and if that happens, then good on him. I think he's got that other chip on his shoulder, having been kicked off the PGA Tour policy board or not allowed back on, or whichever way you want to look at it. So I think there's a lot going through his head at the moment, and I think he could be he could win it, or he could go the other way and just absolutely bomb.
Sorry, guys, I've got a wanderer here in our presence. She's just also had one of those late naps. Clearly hasn't paid off very well. Hoff, it's quite a thing, eh? It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Who knows? Maybe all the moaning. Maybe there was a reason that he was moaning publicly on the microphone, and maybe that was his outlet. You know, who knows what was going on, sort of, you know, behind the scenes. So maybe the moaning about Liv was just a front. You know,
So do you feel, Terence, like me picking Rory McIlroy is like some of the guys who said they would never go to Liv signing for Liv?
Yeah, a little bit, but it's an interesting world, eh?
Unheard of, yeah.
It's an interesting world. Maybe
John Rahm to
maybe
Liv.
maybe his wife just couldn't understand why, like, you know, why he hadn't gone to Liv, and maybe that's what caused all the consternation. I mean, it'll be very interesting to see. I'm excited to see Rory with a bit of a chip on his shoulder there. Maybe getting a bit chippy with a few journalists. Yeah, maybe because I'm sure the like tabloids will probably like be all over this as well. You know, like I guess the UK type tabloids and that.
Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe there's a Tiger-esque. Maybe there's like a Tiger-esque story coming, guys. You know, maybe who knows?
Don't.
This is early. This is early.
We're getting into the weeds.
We're so early in this. Guys, are there any other kind of parting thoughts around the PGA? Look, I'm not going to pretend to like get overly excited about this weekend, but I got to say I'm pretty excited. Like they say it's the strongest field in golf in terms of actual like rankings of players. Shout out Louis for turning down the invite. Yeah, it's kind of a venue that's got a bit of history with the Tiger and Rory wins. So some fun holes at the end there. So I'm pretty excited to watch this weekend. Yeah, any kind of parting thoughts before we shut the spaceship down?
I just wanted to shout out. I was actually looking on the Valhalla website today at the course layout, and the 7th hole, you're going to see it. It's par 5, but there are 2 landing areas. You can either play on the right, or like there's a landing area on the left, which is only like 25 meters wide, but it shortens the hole by 50 yards, they say, and it's like surrounded by like bush and water, I think. So I was like, that just seems like the most bizarre thing. Like you're giving guys, you're giving 2 options here for these oaks, whether they want to have a shot that's 50 yards shorter, but with a much higher risk involved. Like, I don't know. I looked at it. I was like, that just seems like a ridiculous gimmick.
Is T gone? I think T's gone to put a child down. I was wondering why there was a silence.
But that was the one thing, because I was looking at the layout. So the 4th is a drivable par 4, which like guys are going to go at. The 13th has got an island green.
I saw that one, yeah.
Which I thought was pretty sweet. 14th is a 255 meter par 3. So that's lekker. And then the 18th is like a makeable, as Terence mentioned, a makeable par 5, which should be quite a cool finishing hole. And I reckon it might add a bit of spice. Like, I know that the weather's going to be pretty, apparently, like Thursday and Friday are not lekker, but the weekend is sort of clears up a little bit. But like, I think it's going to be like pretty soft. So those longer holes, I think, are going to play pretty tough for the guys.
Yeah, I saw that island green as well. It actually looks quite lekker. It's like almost like a built-up island with stone or rock or whatever. I think it looks pretty cool. But yeah, my sort of parting thoughts, T, are, you know, I'm just hoping that it sort of keeps to its recent history with a big winner and hopefully a bit of a fight down the end, and not to its history around the 90s 2000s with some pretty randoms. I think it'll be pretty disappointing if a no name wins it. So that's my hope for the weekend. And then outside of the PGA Championship, parting thought to Tucky for tonight's game. Good luck, Tucky. It is no longer a 3-horse race, as you know. My team bowed out in spectacular, devastating fashion for me, so I can sit back and watch this without any kind of stress. But I see it in the background here, 0-0 with some pretty good moments for either side. So all the best out there.
Yeah. Thanks, Hoff. Thank you. It's been a tough however many years since we last won this flipping thing.
Guys, I echo Hoff's sentiments. Really wish you all the best out there tonight, Tucky. We know how much it means to you Gunners fans. Being a Liverpool fan myself, does feel actually quite weirdly relieving not to have to make it to the, although and weirdly familiar not to make it to like the last 2 or 3 weekends. So, I'm definitely supporting the Gunners. I would love to see. I think honestly, if I'm being honest, I think the best results from a spectator's perspective tonight would be like a draw. And have the teams all level going into the last game would be pretty incredible. But guys, cool. Enjoy the thanks for this evening. Enjoy your PGA Champs weekend, and just to everyone listening, don't forget to sign up onto the Golf Champs pool. Get your entries in. I had to duck off there, guys. I didn't actually run you through my Golf Champs team, but it's not really, doesn't bear a lot of resemblance to my dog picks, but I can run you through it quickly. So I've gone the strategy of having one absolute sort of outsider, and then try to load my team from the front. So I've gone with Jake Knapp, who is ranked 88th. Bit of a newcomer on the PGA Tour, but he's shown to be a pretty decent player, very good player. He's already won. And then I've gone with Rory, Scotty, and Tyrrell Hatton to make up the rest of my team. Yeah.
Very interesting.
So there we go. Gents, thanks so much. And we will catch up at some points in the near future. We've had a barrage of podcasts for our standards in the last sort of 3 weeks. So very likely we're going to have a week or two off. But I'm sure we'll have some good content coming down the line.